Hello. My name is Osana Bamidele, a final year student of Vistula University. At this stage, I'm at the verge of completion of my BA thesis, and it honors upon me to make a practical presentation of the thesis, which I've decided to make two short videos about the thesis, and is divided into two parts. The first part will cover the short introduction of the primary text I used on the course of my research and the short history of the author. By the way, the title of my thesis is The Theme of Individualism, a critical examination of Christopher Marlowe's The Tragic History of Dr. Faustus. And the second part will cover the theme individualism itself. On this part, I intend to compare two eras together. The first one, the Elizabethan era, the era that the book was written, and the second one, which is the current or the present era, which is the 21st century. My primary focus or target will be how dominant or how prominent is individualism compared to these two eras. On the course of the presentation, I intend to have a one-on-one interview with a scholar, a prominent scholar at that, who is very familiar with the play, which is my primary text. I intend to ask him his personal opinion about the theme individualism. I also intend to make some examples or to point out some scenes and instances that represent the theme of individualism from the primary text. I intend to make some critical analysis and some reservations about some of the examples. I intend to compare what is going on in the era of today and what is going on, what went wrong in the era of Elizabethan. If we can say these two eras are the same or they have some similar components. I intend to ask about his opinion about one of the arguments that I've established on the course of my research. I intend to hear his own opinion about most and some controversial issue that surrounds the theme of individualism. Without wasting too much time, let me start with the first part of the presentation. Like I said, the first part of the presentation will be the introduction of the theme of the primary text, which is theme of individualism, a critical examination of Christopher Marlowe's The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus. This book was written by Christopher Marlowe in the year 1593, shortly before he passed. This book is about a German theologian that has acquired or that has achieved a lot as a theologian. By the way, a theologian is someone that study or have knowledge about God or religion. He's so vast, so intelligent, furthermore that he knows about philosophy, law, and medicine. is very, very intelligent, and he has achieved a lot. But at some point of his existence, or at some point of his life, he became so boring, he became so bored, and he wanted more. He wanted some excitement. On the course of seeking for more excitement, he ventured into a research or into engaging in the knowledge of black magic. An attempt of doing so, he commit himself into a covenant with Lucifer through his messenger, Mephistopheles. Because of his acne, because of his desire to seek for power, because of his pride to seek for more knowledge, because of his pride to rule the world, because of his desire to have so many women, he was so resolute, and he was resolved to forge ahead despite all the advices, despite all the back and forth that the two angels, both the evil and the good angels, were communicating to him. Of course, the good angel was persuading him not to go for it, while the bad angel, or the evil angel, is telling him to forge ahead and to accomplish his dream of being a very powerful man. Of course, he's so enticed, he's so enticed with what will happen if he goes ahead into achieving his dream, while the good angel is telling him the repercussion and the consequences if he goes ahead into achieving his dream. As a theologian, he knows more about that. Even if whenever he's trying to listen to the good angel, because of his pride and his desire to make it by all means, he was so resolute, so he never stopped, he never detached from his dream. So he had a covenant with Lucifer. Meanwhile, he was also encouraged by his two friends, which I call them the two devil advocates, Varus and Cornelius. At the end of the day, he was able to achieve his dream after having a covenant with Lucifer. He was powerful, he was famous, he was blessed with a lot of magic. He traveled far and near. At the end of the day, after all this, he was promised to live for just 24 years. Even with all these bad things that was said that will happen to him, he never stopped. At some point, he would think about it, but he was still so determined to achieve his dream. So he never stopped. At the end of the day, he lived for 24 years. He enjoyed to some extent, but according to my own knowledge of the book, I felt the most important thing to him is to be married, or to have a lot of women, which I don't think he achieved. But so to speak, he had everything he wanted, and he died at the age of after 24 years. But before he died, he passed every of his wealth, everything he had achieved through black magic, to his famous servant Wagner. So that is that about the introduction of the book. Talking about the author, Christopher Marlowe was an English writer, playwright, and a poet who lived for 29 years. Of course, we can say that was a very short life. But even as he existed for just 29 years, he was able to achieve a lot in so short life. Within 5 years of his academics trajectory, he became a master holder within 5 years. That was huge. Also, he was widely regarded as one of the greatest writer or playwright or poet of his generation. He was a contemporary with William Shakespeare, and he was two of the most famous writer of Elizabethan era. On the course of his life, he was able to write. He wrote 2 books, or he had 2 books to his. He wrote few books, or he had few books to his name before he died. Even after his death, there were a lot of mystery about his death. Some people would say he died mysteriously. And before he died, some people would say he lived a very reckless life. Some people would call him a drunkard. He was established as an atheist. He never believed in God. However, even with all this, he was still a great man. A very, very intelligent scholar. Very, very intelligent scholar. Thank you. That is the first part of the presentation. See you next time. Thank you.